Eliminate the workplace excuse. That's what leaders do. This is the Career Blindspot podcast.
Today's CBQ, Courtney, have you ever had talent dysmorphia?
Hell yeah.
Yes?
Yes.
It's just, I made it up.
I know what body dysmorphia is, so I
Okay.
assume it's
Well,
something similar.
For those, and trigger warning, body dysmorphia and any type of,
Dysmorphia?
yeah. What is body dysmorphia normally?
Where you don't see the size of yourself correctly.
Yeah.
Either you think you're too big or you're too small.
Yeah, and not like in a positive way, right?
Right.
It's not like you think you're this shit and you really don't look great. It's, you might look great and you don't.
Yeah.
Anyone can have it, but even bodybuilders or models.
Yeah, it's common.
And so I said talent dysmorphia. This is a phrase I made up a couple months ago, and I actually forgot about it until today. But you have had it?
Both ways. I've
Really?
been overly confident and I've been very, very nervous when I should have been confident.
Okay, I wasn't.
I feel like you were going to try and trick me
No, I
with
wasn't.
this one.
No, I'm actually happy on a personal level because so much of it is, even though I've crushed X, and I'm speaking in Courtney's here, I'm still not this. I'm still not that. So much of it is negative dysmorphia.
Right.
Then I'm like, no, there definitely have been times when you think your shit doesn't stink, and that's been a problem. And finding that sweet spot is hard. But I think if I could wave a magic wand to give more people one or the other, I'd go more positive. Or maybe I'd flip it, like younger people, art people, creative people would be less positive on their ability and more of a seasoned generation who has to adapt to earn a living, if not be happy in their work. Believe your own hype a little bit more. But let's talk about the negative a bit more.
Okay.
When you were negatively not viewing your talent, what was that like?
When I was viewing my talent negatively?
Yeah, I don't know why I said it like Yoda, but yes. When you didn't have a healthy view of your
Okay,
talent.
non-healthy.
Yeah.
Okay. Shoot, that was most of my life.
Well,
I didn't think I was really skilled at anything. Juan would be like, "What are your skills?" And I'd be like, "I don't know. What am I good at? You tell me."
But even long before we were together and
Yeah.
you were working, I think you would, actually, most people, when you are not clear on your talent, maybe not dysmorphic, but when you are unclear, you take jobs that you don't really want to do. Maybe you think you can, maybe you actually can do really well, but when I use talent, and this is your first episode, this is the whole point of this show, the blind spot coaching, etc., is not just what is my talent, articulating it, but then aligning my actions to just do more of it. Not complicated, but easier said than done. And I've had talent dysmorphia. I've told the story off and on where someone told me years ago, my boss, who I'm still friends with today, and I was like 20 something, she's like, "You're gonna get paid to speak." I had no idea what a consultant, keynote speaker is. I'm like 19, just running my mouth, barely getting C's in community college. And she didn't say it more, almost like she said it like a burden I was gonna get. But I didn't connect that dot, and I didn't have bad jobs, but definitely ones that
Didn't encourage your strength.
yes, or really need it. That's the difference between, it's one thing to say, hey, we see your potential, yeah, you can try this. It's another thing to be like, we need you to hit a home run, to crush it. And when you plug in, it's a different type of energy. But I've been fired. I'll tell, this is a teaser. I've been fired for selling stolen checks at a bank that I worked at to a man with no thumbs. Story for a different day. You don't know that story?
No.
Okay. But I was also so glad. I've been rejected by certain mega corporations that I didn't fit their profiles, that in hindsight doing what I do, I'm like, oh, thank God. But at the time, rejection sucks. We've talked about that before. But also just misaiming your abilities, or really not knowing your abilities and just swinging for the fences. So back in the day, you basically get into data analytics. Numbers and information is Courtney's strength, for lack of a better term. So when you didn't realize that about yourself, not so much the jobs, but how did it feel to not feel good about your talent?
Terrible. I started in like a call center in my like professional journey, and talking to people, not my strength, but I found the positive side. I like rules. There were a lot of rules having to do with those call center interactions.
But even that, I don't want to nitpick too much, but there's two things here. I would think a lot of people who don't know their talent end up in call centers.
Yeah.
Not to say call centers are bad, also not saying that they're good, but there's a big demand for those to fill those roles. There's also high turnover. And they often say, oh, do you like talking to people? Yeah, I do.
No.
I never went to a call center and survived, or they let me survive. Courtney, the red flag here, or the I would disagree, is you're great at talking to people when it comes to project expectations, quality control, etc.
Right.
But a call center, no. You're usually getting yelled at by something you have no power over. You're just reiterating the fine print that they didn't go over with the customer anyway. And this customer who doesn't go to therapy is upset, but really just going to take it all out on you in the minute. Some people are born to do that, and shout out to those of you, but I'd probably guess it's maybe 5% of them at best.
It did teach me some good skills on how to deal with difficult people.
Yeah.
I'll give that.
But I'm not saying that it's bad. It's you went there to begin with, you stayed there longer, and then think about the ends, or the end of any job you've had that didn't end great. Mm-hmm. It sucks, right?
Yeah.
You feel...
In the moment, it sucks.
Tell me if this is true for you, not just recent memory, but the last tenure of your career, or I should say all your jobs. It is this mix of arrogance. I can't believe they did that. They're so dumb, blah, blah, blah. But also on the inside, oh my God, I can't go anywhere else. Da, 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 da. It's a false sense of arrogance that's really insecurity that just eats at you until you dust yourself off, you play the cards that you're dealt, and if you're really smart, you use the resources, and more importantly, you ask for help. Not just from me, but from anyone, because I think we all do this.
Right.
We all know what it feels like to be fulfilled or to have high integrity in our decisions, but to do it on purpose is a different thing, and that's where, point to me all day, because it's a disease for me to see why people do or don't do it, a burden, like Spider-Man. It's my
great power comes with great responsibility.
Yeah, but he also says it is my gift, it is my curse, because I'm like, why isn't Courtney talking to that amazing person she has so much in common? Why is she wasting her time with people, maybe not evil, but do not have her best interests? In fact, I would even say sometimes they're leading you astray. Mm-hmm. It's not them I have a problem with, this is more on the personal. You're allowing them. It's like your friends are continually going to hang out or date people that you're like, what are you doing? So
who are these friends you speak of that are dating people?
All of our friends date people if they're not married. All right.
All right.
Let's go to the positive.
Okay.
When have you had dysmorphia, maybe not positive, but you were inflating what you were actually capable of?
The first thought that comes to mind is the AMEX thing. I've said it before, like I lied about knowing Excel and I had 2 weeks to learn it. And I was like, I can do this. And then I did it. And I was like, oh my gosh, I don't know enough. I don't know as much as everybody else. And then I ended up finding out I knew more than everyone else doing the job.
Yeah, and even that, I would not say you're wrong in saying that, but you lied about how much you knew about Excel. Because you could open it, right?
I could open it.
Okay, and that sounds silly, but I remember when I was in college and I took a class on computer science, it was like literally like turning on the computer, and I'm thinking, oh my God, well no, I was raised with a computer in my house, and back then, in the 1900s, that was more of a luxury experience, and not everyone else, especially someone who was a little bit older but still looking to get back in. So yeah, you lied about your level of experience.
That's true.
Welcome to professional life. I think that's what the problem. So many people are lying in their interviews and or in who they're trying to hire. We need someone who's great at this and who's willing to take $50K. That's not true,
You're not
man.
asking for the right person.
But they asked for it.
Right.
And so what was your example again? Sorry.
AMEX, Excel.
Oh, but that I'd also say that was a good thing.
That was a good thing. It
That-
was. Same thing with AI though. I went in thinking like, I know how to build all these things. And then I went and I took Polly's class and I was like, I know nothing. And that was like the best experience.
I think, and this is where, as we wind down this episode, there's these extremes. Courtney, even before she took this class, and I remember when she was fielding it before she invested time in it. What did you ask? Oh no, you took a practice course. You're like, I know nothing. And this is someone that I knew. You give me 100 people, 100 professionals. She knows equally, if not more. And the track record at that point, I would have put the bet on, and not just hypothetically, if you had to go build something, test something, etc., my money was on Courtney and what I was seeing her do, not what she was saying. The words didn't matter, but it was more of the output action. And that got you to go and do this thing of, hey, I want to do this, but then you get humbled really quick.
Oh, yeah.
And there is this kind of humble brag of, I know nothing, but it's also because I thought I did, and now I know even more. And talent dysmorphia, to me, at the end of the day, it's an extreme and it's a lie. But sometimes it can be helpful of, I can go in and win this fight, or I can't, like our DIY projects. Courtney's spatial awareness and mine are very different. And sometimes I'm like, why do we still have this brand new air compressor in a corner? You get very optimistic on what you can do here, but I'm guilty of all those things and then some, right? You sound like our son, right? Verdad? So talent dysmorphia, I think it is a trigger word, but it's more of if you're not in the center, you're leaning to one side or the other.
Yes.
And that's, I think, the real work of actually leveraging your talent, or a total curveball, but it's the same stuff. Gratitude. Everyone knows that they should have gratitude or practice it more. And I realized that I know it intellectually, but the only way I actually feel it is if I'm doing something about it. I know I should feel grateful for having our kids, but it's easy to be like when they're crying with us. But when I decide, hey, I'm going to take them to the park, or we're going to do something wild and crazy, or whatever, unnecessarily, I'm in it, that's when I feel gratitude. So to not be talent dysmorphic, you have to use your talent, but fully, not partially. With Courtney and with the AI, you would go and learn, half-ass build stuff, or I want to say half-ass, what do you call it, vibe coding. Mm-hmm. That's different than actually building a website that got our whole neighborhood free trees from the city. That's different than getting it to translate, build a 3D modeling of the ideal place. Otherwise, you're on the razor's edge. That's a phrase that I hadn't thought of in a while, but I think it's not just you, it's not just me, everyone is going to be on that spectrum. Any advice for people, let's say, advice for past Courtney, who's been either extreme of talent dysmorphia?
Not so much advice, but just I really enjoy the fact that I'm embracing that I don't know everything. I know a good amount, but I love finding out that I don't know everything, because then that means there's something more for me to learn and I can still be better. I welcome that. You have said that in a couple different ways, but that is not ironic. That is, I think, the whole point of this. Learn to love it, or I should say, you do love it, but also what keeps you from it is, I'm supposed to know everything, or I don't know this or that. So repeating pattern. We'll see you for the next one.
I make this show for leaders, those who don't point fingers, but point towards ways they can do better at work. My ask for listening is you share the show on social and or with other leaders, established or aspiring. Until then, no talent, no culture, no excuses.